I'm going to read some new things, and heaven help me. That is to say, the massive editorial person has not showed up for them. This is a tiny devil may care. Dark thoughts are not wrong thoughts. They are fugitive shadows. There's nothing to laugh out here in the ho-ho hills because oneself is the big laugh, held back till the author gets out of range through time, distance, death. No media presence detected. Nervous and perverse, pushing emotional commotion, Satan turned out to be a comedian. Well, I'll top myself with this one. You think back. And so my profession was being a lawyer, of all things. And I thought about going to graduate school because I could have. And then I just said, can't sit there and do a lesson plan. So instead, I got into schemes. This is called, there's a mag in New York called Manzanar that had a prompt called like a thing, like a rock star. And so this is called Like a Hollywood Lawyer. Poetry does not require cash. Life and movies require cash. Walter required a lawyer. I required cash and threw in some poetry to boot. Walter, an old-time indie movie producer, a phone in each ear guy, talked twisty as a Mobius stripper, then made deals in a whisper. I, as lawyer, a casual bottom feeder, not tough but easy, enjoyed Walter, his hair slick, just back from Cannes. Walter, an anaconda, was too bulbous to get in my Mini Cooper, but he took movies to Cannes, the big topless international film festival, and sold them on a burnished yacht deck under a big bright breast of sun. Distribution followed. Burp. We sat in the rented Laurel Canyon pool house office at the end of the sculpted blue swimming pool where stars once swam breaststroke, and Walter and I now contemplate astronomical sails. People sued, but that was expected, even among the good guys. However, needless to say, and hitherto, no trademark, patent, or copyright could catch our legal moonwalk. I watched as clients entered the pool house, stage left. There was a heave in the gable structure as they were consumed. Out came Walter, brimming with contracts I had copied from genius form books. Relieved smiles by the swimming pool and odes in the four-cornered prose I had composed, all about pay up, trigger the loan, and who's exposed. If you ever see the phrase, kindly be advised, get out of town. Oh, there's more. Well, I should have stopped there, huh? I like this one. That's the man, right? On the blue blooming skyway over Hollywood, an eviction notice pinned to the first cloud. You forgot to pay on time. Who owns this dream? That's the true end, the true burp. Oh, thank you. Has anyone here ever been to New York? I thought so. Anyway, I used to hang out there and attempting to, breathe. And this is from the 60s. There's another one I wrote recently, but it's about way back. And it's not that happy a poem, but bear with me, okay? It's called, it's set in the mid-60s. And it's called, I Learned the Con on Old West 42nd Street with the help of Jack Dempsey. Do I have to explain Jack Dempsey? Oh, I wouldn't. No, you don't know. You'll never know. You'll never know. I know you know. I know you know. Old West 42nd Street, before Disney and the mayor ordered cleanup of that soil street of dirty movie marquees, now sealed in black and white by time. I sailed through exploring my early bad self, and I can tell you, thrills were cheap indeed on that wand of emotional dilation hanging off Times Square. My arteries are now blocked for miles, but I thought 42nd Street in the mid-60s was creepy cool. A block party in the shadow of ad men with local stiff and strangers slithering fast as fish. I was from a small town where people said, "Howdy do," and didn't lock their cars. So I was driven by the gravity of perversion to lift up the floorboards of life and burrow. I know from peep shows, little sex reviews, wood walls that themselves stink, bums on too much bum row, staircases you don't want to go up, people that hate themselves in public. Places you hear gush and whine through flimsy wallpaper, all sordid. Sordidity itself was the theme, not sex, no satisfaction. XXX equals 0. This was not porn, but threat of porn with twists of crime. You had to ground yourself in your fervent long johns and empty groin, unsatisfied by any of the sexual organs tottering in front of you, and the marquees that echoed staked out gasps of 40s noir fantasies everyone knew were fake, like a tour of Hollywood Universal, fake on fake. There I mingled with hustlers in line for construction jobs, no less, and a guy nudged me in a short line. This guy in a smudged fedora and a nose like a pickle told my 19-year-old self he'd give me back my $10 I'd just given him because I wanted a friend, and he wanted some quick medicine heart stuff. This standing in the freezing wind was getting to him. Meet you over there at Jack Dempsey's restaurant. Gleaming chrome on Broadway with aura of companionship. I'll give you the 10 back plus fried eggs and spuds for interest. Remember how Jack himself used to show up in the back? The former heavyweight champion of the world, in person, glazing it over with admirers of the ring. And this guy said, "When Jack comes out at 11 a.m., you'll get it back." And I was there. But I found out Jack only came out after midnight, and no one showed at 11 a.m. because they never did. And I considered I learned about 42nd Street the easy way and actually quite cheaply. And that street's hustlers and whores, barkers, strippers, and pickle-faced fedoras now only appear on internet sites where they are bigger and more sordid than they ever were on 42nd. But I salute bourgeois college boys like myself who inhale the casual low-down stink of life by the healing waters of Jack Dempsey. Maybe Jack was coming out. Maybe I'd get my $10 back and be recognized like a man. Maybe this crowd boiling like pasta with old bones thrown in the pot outside the steamed-up window on the street of sin. Maybe the black and white New York thin winter sunlight of nuclear ambition that embraces both light and dark, sordidity and sanctitude. Maybe that boiling crowd includes me. Thank you. That's the first reading for that baby. If it's a baby. Okay. I'm doing quite slowly a chat book that maybe I'll expand it, but it's called The Werewolves. And so I'm going to read a little bit from that stuff. This is the werewolves itself. To the werewolves belonged the space between ghosts and night of eggplant dark. The moon, itself a wandering soul, peers through treetops at my heart. A deer frozen in a forest of eyes, lupine and shaped like leaves. I know they are near. I see them when they blot out the moon, hear them when they call my name. Summoning them is an entertainment at my own expense. They lope alongside me, and when I look at them, their eyes get bigger. I treat them now as my children, feed them everything I have. They all live with me, and at night I draw these friends around me like a fur coat and look up at the moon awash in darkness, and the hunger that comes out of me is a long wail in the night. That's that. Didn't have a happy ending, in fact. Thank you. By the way, I forgot to time myself. I'm about halfway. Somewhere night, Marcia? All right. So, fumble. Someone's talking about a knee operation. I got one next week. Thank you for reminding me because I saw the doc today. Anyway, in olden day, I hiked up Mount Whitney. Anyone been there? Yeah. All right. It's kind of an easy path, but it's really hard because you got to do it in one day because that's all they allow you. It's 22 miles up and back, about 8,000 feet. This is called Queen of Thin Air. People far apart move slowly like underwater. Express surprise. I'm so old and still a grunting. Body, a hyperventilating machine made of mortal sticks. Willpower pellets. Lust and forgotten lust. Gray matter to run the heavy dogs of worry, and muscles that hold personal traumas like hot dog buns. And a desire for transcendence from it all, or I wouldn't even be here. Stuck like a stick man or insect on God's bulletin board beyond cloud, where so very clear is scary, a speck of living gland hanging forward off the postcard without a scaffold. Amid twisting spires of rock and a long way down to bargain basement realizations that I was so stupid to be here, and foolishly, like in tarot card number 1, pursuing a casual agenda on this jagged stairway to a tremulous afterlife. Oh, day, dark blue and disappearing in giddy distance, mountains 80 miles away, clear as exclamation points amid big bold text of sky. Toy feet stick off concrete stilts called legs, which lift and crook up. More rock, which goes sideways in shards of shimmering granite, long as office buildings. A spaceship of stone ribbed in ice, and me outside, desperate for air. I inhale a breath, thin as rock is thick. Trillions of tons socked all around me with oxygen that whisks away every time breath reaches for it, needy as a jump rope. On this narrow path, hung like a necklace around a stony spine, braced against the shelf with my free hand, I don't dare take my eyes from feet and rock and look through the lens, so camera dangles like a heavy pendulum. I look up and stare far upstairs at the dizzying billboard bearing the birdless blue smile of the Queen of Thin Air from her great vacuum heights, where endless residential souls live without weight of body or mountain rock and speak my mind without walls. Welcome to Vertigo, the state without any boundaries at all. All right. I kind of got back into it during that one. Oh, puff, puff, puff. So I'm going to spin along here. It's been a long time. Anyone been to Los Angeles? Yes? Okay. Why not this? And I think I'll read one before I read that. This one is called Future States of Mind. That is the future of states of mind, I think I call it. The future, that fugitive thought, suggests an erotic fuzz on the body mind. They see it in teacup leaves, drink it down as urine from a shaman, or just chow down on ayahuasca. I didn't want to face such spiritual shenanigans, so I quit the attitude, accepting no future. But it happened anyway, albeit with a very short attention span. Thoughts fly off me like a spaceman's breath. Oh, regret! If booze and drugs had great stone faces, I'd be Mount Rushmore. I could never contemplate having goals. I couldn't visualize a self-image of a better me. A pirate flag on the identity ship, an epitaph with personality clothes. I've been here years without a plan. It's what the summer Mercury offered in winter. All this show business is no business. I consider myself a valuable idea, but with no extension of bodily copyright, it's a short go. I'd like to be paid in front, please. My new goals? I want to go where the strict lines of visual perspective meet the squiggly emotional ones. And even though I've avoided eye contact with the world, I want a big art opening in the bamboo forest where the old Chinese emperor enjoys solitude and paints the future in quiet watercolors that run down his face. Do not mistake them for tears. Well, thanks. So I'll read uno mas. That means mass, a mass of poems. Yeah, mass. All right, I mentioned Los Angeles. Okay, this was written a while ago, and I didn't change any references because I think the people here can kind of dig it, like slightly 90s stuff. This is called Sunset Strip Self-Improvement Affirmations. Like, you know, I'll be good, or there's always the feeling of wind, even when there is no wind. The coat wants to turn up. Young women in tight black clothes project coal blonde sacks, slip out in gum-chewing 3s and 4s from dark fertility cars. They are fires waiting to jump fire lanes to enter the music smog in the club owned by the famous movie actor, in front of which the famous kid movie star fell down and died from too much goodwill and chemical thrills from his good friends. On the sidewalk stood homemade altars from his fans like kaleidoscopic Mexican gods with flowers in their hair. The guys take off their shirts and show their tattoos at closing time in front of the tattoo store. The girls look at them with smiles like eclipsing planets. All the way down in their bellies, their faces turn up to the stars. People drive more wildly on this street, holding phones to their ears in their cars. Figures on big billboards peer down like a row of giants on a drawbridge who appear intimate but are secretly filing for divorce. And the Whiskey and the Roxy clubs feature rock bands that are named after toilets, boomerangs, kitchenware. And I want a motorcycle. I've never had a motorcycle. And everybody here is a little bit behind or in front of the camera. In the bookstore, I stood in line beside the venerable Donald Sutherland, one of my favorite actors, and I almost vaulted the aisle to grab his arm and tell him how much I admired his work, particularly in Nicholas Roeg's dark Venetian drama. But I held back my racing heart to give him space to breathe alone in the illusory world where he is not recognized. In the gas station, I pumped gas next to the formerly famous male model with the blonde hair extensions and big pectorals, whom they never let speak in public. I knew it was him when a girl with a narrow ticket face approached and pulled his autograph while we pumped. And I said, "It's you, right? You're that movie guy." He said, "No, not him." And I said, "Okay," because it was wonderful enough to me that he denied it. But then he stood behind me to pay at the cashier, and I turned and said again, "You're that movie guy, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes, it's me, it's me, it's me." And we were both gratified. I had just seen this male model as a stand-up comic cardboard cutout in the greeting card store window up the street. This is the city of movies, not films, of package, persuasion, and negative pickups in the financing of all life, including executives who seek preference in restaurant seatings like packs of militant seals. And this is the city that serves up its own name as part of the deal. Sunset Boulevard in the dog-breath night. The long cars line up in lacy steel brocade outside the restaurants to be loaded with people who generate international states of mind and dubious cultural symbols. And it's time for the hitmen, the pitchmen, the agents, and the one-line guys to roll the cameras like dice, and no one forgets to be seen leaving a big tip or to throw themselves to private, choked-off applause under the wheels which roll down this street, walking distance from the health food store, the all-night gym, hustler, and many glamorous hotels. Traffic lights blink and automobile shadows move across me. It's the movie that kicks in when I close my eyes. It's the movie where I'm always the star. Waiting for the light to change, waiting for the big change. City of stars, neighborhood of strangers. It will happen for me. 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 Well, thank you.